My name is Teresa Shaver, the Executive Director of the Business Advisory Center Durham, and along with our partners, Frank Rodino, and the town of Whitby, Jay from RBC Dominion Securities, Jay Gilgannon, and One Community One who are doing our recording today. I want to thank you for being here. I know you could have been in many other places, and we appreciate you being here this morning. So today we're going to have a really great speaker who's going to help you really understand the nuts and bolts of your business. But before that, just a couple of things that I want to mention. I didn't put these on your desk today, but if you can take a photo of this is just a lineup of the events that are coming up for May. And if we can help you at the ACE with your business, we like to help our businesses achieve success, whatever that is for that business. Come and see us, and we'll be happy to help you. Frank, if I can ask you to come and introduce our guest speaker this morning.
Thank you. Listen, so today I'm excited to introduce a friend of mine, Neville. So Neville is a York Angel member, but before I get into that, I just want to let you know, look, I love sales. I'm an angel investor, and I can tell you that all I look at is sales. And when I meet young men and women, and they always want to try to pitch me an idea, the first thing, and Neville can attest, is, so what are your sales? And people say, wow, I got such a great idea. Lisa House works for the town of Ajax. Her son, 12 years old, came to an event. They were teaching him about entrepreneurship. And on the way home, his mom says, Reese, what did you learn today? It's a 12-year-old kid. And the kid says, Mom, it doesn't really matter how great your idea or product is if nobody wants to buy it. So, and this is a 12-year-old kid, right? So I tell young men and women, concentrate on the business development. They love cars. I say, what's your favorite car? And they say, well, I love Ferraris. And I say, well, if you haven't got any gas, how are you going to drive the car around? Right? So I always look at sales as the fuel. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a bio. So first of all, I wanted to welcome also Jeff and his wife Patty are in the room. They're over there. They were our speakers here last month, which was Dimples. And then, of course, Patty is the other half that apparently did not exist, but she does exist. She's the real founder, not Jeff. He just takes all the credit. So also want to acknowledge Pavel. Pavel is one of our speakers. Guys, this is our 23rd that we've done. Pavel, thank you. Pavel did a session on negotiation and sales. He teaches at Osgood Hall. So anyway, listen, very excited for today. Let me tell you a little bit for the newbies in the room. What really this is all about is just someone sharing their journey and their story. And I love hearing people's journeys of what they've done, what they've accomplished, what they failed at. So when I first met Neville, I'm thinking, this guy travels too much? And did you say you climbed Mount Kilimanjaro? Him and a couple of buddies were having drinks at a house and somebody decided it's a great idea and they did it. So he's going to share that with you. So I'm going to get right into the bio, okay? I'm just going to put on my glasses because it seems that even if I put the font at 250 plus, it still doesn't come out. So Neville turned his 400 unionized employee company back to profitability through profit sharing with his employees. This fabulous success was largely due to him teaching his employees the financial implications of their decisions. He subsequently developed and patented an award-winning interactive multisensory game-like tool to teach business acumen to non-financial business leaders and entrepreneurs. For the past 22 years, Neville has brought his work to many global companies such as Toyota, Hallmark, Bombardier, Campbell Soup, to mention but a few. His financial literacy training programs have transformed corporate culture at all levels. He is a well-respected academic author and is a past case protagonist with Harvard Business School. He has also been featured on radio, TV, and many magazines and publications. His company is called AME Learning, and of course, This Wisdom Training and Consulting, and he's been the winner of several awards, including the Otter Award for the Best Training Product in Canada, the Ontario Chamber of Commerce Business Achievement Award, finalist at the Cody Awards for Best Post-Secondary Instructional Solution in North America, and a finalist at Deloitte Fastest 50 Companies. So what did we promise you guys today? Here you are. During this past faced an exciting presentation, Neville will share with you what he calls an ace up your sleeve. A proven principle that will help you improve sales and profitability. He will bring his principle to life by telling you about his fascinating adventures when climbing Mount Kilimanjaro, the highest freestanding mountain in the world, riding his motorcycle 18,000 kilometers from Toronto to the most northern part of Alaska, and biking to the Dead Sea in Israel to the lowest point on Earth. His trainer His training peers have called him a trainer's trainer. He is a motivating, passionate, humorous, engaging, compelling educator that will open your mind by providing you with stimulating and refreshing ideas that will generate sustainable financial result in your business. Please help me to welcome to our stage, Neville.
Good morning. Good morning. Who wrote that?
You. By the way, this is Neville's book. I am offering to purchase one for all of you in the room this morning. So if you'd like a book, just come on up and see us, and then Teresa's going to pay for it. Okay, guys? I'm serious. If you like the book, I would love to offer to pay for the book. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you.
So good morning. I have my usual shtick of presentations for corporate CEOs and education. And when I shared what I was going to do with Frank, he said to me, absolutely not. Right, Frank?
Yes.
People love stories. Oy, all right, here we go. So I really did this whole thing. I thought there are a couple of messages, or a few messages I want to share with you this morning, but I'll deliver them in the form of stories. So there you go.
Thank you.
Brace yourself, Frank. So how many of you are in sales? Excellent. So Jeff, as I recall last time, you told everybody that everybody's in sales, right?
I said something
So
like that, yeah.
I'm taking your line. How's that?
That's good. Go with that.
How many of you struggle with customers wanting discounts or not willing to pay top dollar for your products or services? And how many of you struggle to get paid on time by your customers? So I'm going to give you some solutions. So why are we in business?
Make money.
To make money. I hear this from every group. Yes, I agree with you. However, there's some more things that you need to be successful. You're in business to generate profits with sustainable cash flow, and you're in business to provide a return to your shareholders' investment, even if you are the shareholder. You may be in business to have fun, but you need to generate sustainable cash flow to improve your economic life and that of your investors. So everything that we do in the organization, whether it be you or your people, need to point to these objectives. So I'm going to talk about 3 aces up your sleeve, if you will. These are the things that people tend not to focus on for some reason, I don't know. But tend not to focus on. If you get these three things right, you will find a lot of good things happening in your organization. So I'm going to present each of these 3 principles to you using different stories. So I was imported from which country? Where's this funny accent from?
South Africa.
South Africa. There you go. So I was imported from South Africa 29 winters ago and counting. I have a textile engineering background and accounting, so my skill sets were ideal for the restructuring of this vertical manufacturing company, which was founded in 1960. 400 unionized employees, historically very profitable. We were completely vertical. In other words, we from our own raw material to assembly of our fabrication to assembly of product to distribution, completely vertical, beginning to end. The company was successful until some family got involved. That's a story for another time. I won't even go there right now. It gets me very emotional, you see. Anyway, they started having problems in the 80s with decreasing returns. This is very interesting. Have any of you ever heard of a memo manager? I never heard of a memo manager. Let me tell you what this memo manager's job was. Now, in those days, when you had CC for carbon copy, that was the real deal. Right? You had 5 layers, you leaned on it, and you handed out these memos. This person's job was to ensure that everybody that received a memo would reply to the memo. You got the memo, don't blame me, the job didn't get done. You got the memo. It was a snake pit of culture. So they were extremely efficient, but nothing got done. There's a difference between being efficient and being effective. So I won't read all of these to you, but it suffices to say that the bank was pressurizing the company, they ran out of money. My job coming in as president of the organization, because I had a window of opportunity, keep in mind when somebody new comes in, we have the license to make changes, because I'm not deemed to be part of the problem. It takes a bit of time before I'm part of the problem, but there's a window of opportunity. I got into what's called theory of constraints. I wish I had time to share this with you today. Quality circle, total quality management, just-in-time inventory, a lot of traditional stuff. We got the company stabilized, but I had this vision of Inc. magazine coming in with a camera and videoing this model company. I could taste it, couldn't get there. In 1995, some of you may recall, we had double-digit inflation. Mortgages were running at, what, 15% or something crazy, right? And we were just getting into free trade with Mexico. Now, how can the manufacturing sector in North America compete with $4 an hour in labor? We couldn't. So something had to be done. I have a philosophy that nobody washes a rented car. Right? Have any of you ever washed a rented car? I was in Australia 10 days ago, and I'm evidence of this. I handed my car back at the airport. I parked it under a tree outside my son's home, which was covered in bird poop. I did apologize, but I did not wash the car. Anyway, so I have a philosophy: nobody washes a rented car. There's no sense of ownership. You need a reason to change behavior. So I did a deal with the union. I said, look, I can sign the agreement, but I will guarantee you within a year we will be out of business. Or we can secure a wage freeze. There was a lot of union resistance, by the way. A wage freeze in support of a 3-year, a wage freeze in support of a profit share program. So I had a lot of resistance from my partner, who was a generation older than myself, and he was opposed to financial transparency, but he bought into the idea. I started getting some volunteer groups to start teaching them the principles of what they needed to do in business to improve the profitability, and I have to tell you, it was an absolute disaster. I used to have hair in those days. Wow. So I called in a consultant who simply did the wrong thing more efficiently. Did the wrong thing more efficiently. They taught bookkeeping on steroids. Like, are you delusional? This was really bad, and my partner was smiling. Well, I see, I told you that I don't want to learn this stuff. I said, I'm telling you, you can scrape the profits off the floor in this company. So I was desperate. Called the meeting. I cashed $1,000 in small bills, crumpled them up, put them in black garbage bags, stood in the back of the factory, had all these employees in front of me, and the union. So now I'm going to teach you some business principles in a way you will never forget. I poured out all the cash. I said, this is called revenue. There's cash all over. I grabbed handfuls of cash into pre-labeled buckets called labor, fabric, process. Then I had some $20 bills in my pocket. I started tearing up $20 bills, and I put them into a bucket called waste. And they were freaking out. I said, why are you freaking out? You do this every day. I did take them together again afterwards. And the cash that I was left was called profit. I cut the pile in half. I said, this half is for the owners of the business in support of the amount of money we have in this business to keep this place open. The other half is for all of you to share equally between each other. The word equally is an operative word here. It made them very sensitive to headcounts. They became very smart about employing more people, and became very smart about becoming very efficient. They were street smart. They got it. And I'll skip the slide here. So I had the silence in the room. And by the way, it was actually very interesting, because on Monday mornings we had these flip charts up in different divisions, talking about the numbers they could control using what I call the SMART principle. Have you all heard the SMART principle? Yeah, specific, measurable, etc. And these people have got it. It was like music to my ears. They were fighting on the floor, but it's healthy fighting. They were arguing about different concepts and different principles, and fighting with the salespeople about discounting, which is remarkable. So the company became successful for two main reasons. And there were a lot of things involved, but the two main reasons. Number one, everyone had a stake in the financial results. If you think people don't care about money, try not having any. They care about financial results. And number two, We delivered what was promised. It changed the entire culture of the corporation, where everybody became accountable. The culture was, if you don't get our product, you don't get it on time, as per our commitment, you get it for free. Okay, we weren't selling Ferraris, but you get the product for free. We had a few freebies, but the bad news was it came out of the bonus pool. You make a promise, stick to it. Very interesting. I'm going to talk about this trust equation, and with the end of this, I can send this to you folks. I won't have the luxury of time to spend too much time on this. I didn't use this tool at the time, but I've subsequently used it. And I'm giving credit to David Meister, the author of The Trusted Advisor. So I'll do this very quickly with you, and I can take this offline afterwards. So watch. Trust is a combination of C for credibility, R for reliability, I for intimacy, divided by self-orientation. Let me explain this to you. You can be very credible, but not be reliable. You can be very reliable, but not credible. You can be very reliable and credible, but have no intimacy. In other words, you're just a heartbeat. So you need all three of those on the top line, but the denominator is self-orientation. Self-orientation meaning the Pope, Mother Teresa would have been their self-orientation is very high. Some politicians and people, their self-orientation is very low. They're in it for themselves. Because it's an equation, the highest value has the lowest number. So, if the top line, if you get 10 out of each, divided by 1 at the bottom, which is the highest value, what is your maximum score? That's 30 on the top, divided by
3.
1 equals by 1, 30, right? So let's assume you score 10 on all of them. Nobody will ever score 10 on all of them because you've always got room for improvement. But watch how the self-orientation, how sensitive it is to the whole score. If I move from 1, which is like, say, the Pope, to 2, my score drops by half. If I go up to 3, it drops to a third. You see how sensitive it is? So when we're in sales, and we are selling with integrity and trust, because that's what you sell trust at the end of the day. I don't care about what your product is. You sell trust. That's what you're selling. In the absence of creating a trusting relationship with your client, all you're doing is selling a commodity and getting to a price war with everybody else. Within 3 years after commencing the Game Share program, this company had 0 debt. 0 debt. In 1997, I sold my interest back to the original owner who decided he liked the company so much he's actually going to keep it after all. And his 3 grandchildren ultimately took over the company because I said, I'm not inheriting 3 grandchildren from 3rd generation. Ain't going to happen. So they bought me out and I retired. Didn't last long. So let's move on to the second principle called vision. As Frank said, it was one evening I was having a glass of vino, or 2, clearly, when a few of us decided, let's climb Kilimanjaro before we turn 60. Okay, let's do it. And we did. You have a lot of time to think when you're trying to breathe, and you're worrying about your glutes giving up on you and all other parts of the anatomy that I discovered that I never even knew I had. But I learned a lot during this climb. Remarkable experience. But what I want to share with you is one particular incident that I never, ever forgot. We were some pretty steep climbing, and there was a family, a French family, dressed beautifully like they were going to a ski resort, all the bright colors, and they were marching up this mountain, coming past us. And I said to them, like, what are you going for, a dental appointment? Where the hell are you going? What are you doing? An hour later, I heard this retching and crying. One of the kids, late teenager, early 20s, had gotten altitude sickness. Now, altitude sickness can kill you because it's called HID. It's like the reversal of the bends when you come up too fast from deep sea diving. High altitude pulmonary edema. And the porters who took us up kept telling us, and in fact I had a hat which I bought at the bottom called Pole Pole. Pole Pole. It means slow, slow. Stay steady. You will not get to the mountain, to the peak of this mountain at 20,000 feet if you go too fast. You have to acclimatize. People who climb Everest stay at base camp for 3 months. And they keep climbing to first base, come back, second base, and they keep doing this to acclimatize, because people die up there. They lose their retinas sometimes. Okay? It was very dangerous. And what I learned from this, so managing expectations. This is the 4th chapter in my book, Managing Expectations. There's a whole lot of topics on managing expectations, but I want to cover this one for the purpose of this morning's talk. This is me, by the way. I was lucky I was wearing dark clothing. This wasn't good. This is a 1,000-foot drop on the Barranca Wall. This was not funny. And I had no idea to expect this rock face. We were totally not geared for it, totally not trained for it. Had I known this, I might have taken a different route. But the tour company didn't tell me a thing about this. This was not funny. So when I talk about managing expectations, it's managing expectations as part of the trust equation I just spoke of with your customers. Trust within all your employees. Just be vocal, communicate, and talk about expectations and meet those expectations. That was part of the turnaround of our company and part of the next company which I founded, which I'll talk about in a moment. So after vision, we get into what we call target fixation. I'm just watching the time. Target fixation. Sounds a bit odd, doesn't it? But, when I sold out from my manufacturing company, I thought, now what do I do? And I realized the power of financial literacy and business acumen, because that was what turned our company around. We had some of the best engineers in the industry, wonderful branding, fantastic product. But the ultimate initiative that turned that company around, besides trust and delivering what we promised, was people understanding the financial implications of what they did. And I realized there was nothing out there to teach us in an appropriate way. I couldn't find another business to buy. I thought, you know what, I became quite passionate about it. And I spent 2 years in my basement developing and patenting what was at that time a board game to teach accounting for non-financial people. It's not a game anymore, but it was at the time. Using a multi-sensory tool, using all color codes, tactile, vision, audio, etc., because it's a very abstract subject for people. And over the years, this company grew and eventually gravitated into a publishing company for universities and colleges, where I took on a group of investors, and after 12 years with them, I sold out to them 3 years ago. With the royalty agreements with my books, and I still kept some equity. I thought, now what do I do? So yeah, I got out of that and I got back into the corporate education, but I decided to take some time off, because I'd never really taken time off for me. So I had this bright idea and jumped on my Honda Goldwing with a bit of planning and decided I'm going to go to the most northern part of Alaska. Now I have a terrible sense of direction. I was supposed to go to PEI, but I thought about, they have the Rockies in PEI? Really? Be that as it may. So yeah, I planned this trip. I was away for 29 days. I was on the road for 26 and covered almost 18,000 kilometers. But when you're on your own on a motorcycle behind your helmets, and there's a lot of thinking and there are a lot of messages, and I love these metaphors and parables. So I came back with a lot of messages for myself and as a learning experience. So one of the things I learned was about target fixation, how it relates to your business. Let me share this one thought with you. So I was only 194 miles or 312 kilometers from Purdue, which is Dead Horse, which is the most northerly part of Alaska, where you get to the sea. But the trip between Fairbanks and Dead Horse, the roads are seriously bad. And while I was in Fairbanks, we were talking to truckers and bikers who were coming south from there. They said, you do not want to go on this road. The road is really bad. A lot of people do it, but there have been very heavy rains. And because of the heavy rain, the gravel of the roads were very slippery, and there are a lot of potholes that you couldn't see underneath the water. You have no idea. It could be a 2-foot pothole. You don't want to hit that on your own on a motorcycle. It's not good. So I chickened out, mostly because I was on my own, and I promised my family I wouldn't do anything really stupid. I did a lot of stupid things, but not really stupid. That would be really stupid. So I rested up for a day. On the way, there was some spectacular scenery. I mean, turquoise lakes because of the glacier dust. Incredible salmon glacier in northern British Columbia. These are all the good parts of the scenery. I have hundreds and hundreds of photographs of different experiences. But we also had roads like this. Construction and potholes and gravel on a large motorcycle is very, very, very tough to navigate. You do not want to fall off. However, the most dangerous part of this trip, interestingly, was on the open roads on the way back from San Francisco, crossing Highway 81, across North America, 4,500 kilometers. It's called target fixation. Now, on the way, you had these signs all over the place. Drowsy drivers pull over if necessary, for fatigue driving. Now, some of you can Google this, target fixation. This is a phenomenon which is very common amongst pilots. What happens is they start focusing on one target in front and they lose their peripheral vision. It's very dangerous. And on a motorcycle and in a car, this is a very, very dangerous phenomenon. So what I did was I actually had on my windshields for the first few days when I got onto this road, I remembered this phenomenon. And I remember how dangerous this could be. I put a little sticker on my, big one actually, on my windshield. Scan, 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 to get used to scanning. So how does this connect to business? Target fixation on top line sales is dangerous. And I'm going to prove it to you in a moment. It is dangerous. I have a term that I like to use it's a very sophisticated term called so what. Our salespeople come back from the field, wow, I increased my sales. And I say, so what? It's, what do you mean, so what? You told me to sell more, yeah. But what did it cost you to get the sale? How much time did you spend with the customer to get the sale? Is this customer ever going to pay the bill? What is your product mix when you sold it? What did your step-up costs when you sold it? And they looked at me with a glazed look, but you told me to sell. Yeah, I didn't talk about stupid sales, I spoke about smart sales. So, what I often do in these presentations, I hand out polling clickers to everybody and get a response from people and an answer, and I'll show you the average statistic that I get on this. So some of you, just read this, take a moment to read it. And if anybody want to answer, that'll be fine. If not, you don't have to, and I'll move on and I'll show you the answer and how it's calculated. Five. Yeah. By the way, about many people answer 5, and that's okay. You either know it or you don't. Can we help you?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to show you the answer. I'm going to prove to you it's correct, and I'm going to talk about target fixation in relationship to the slide. So watch. You sold it for 100, it cost you 60, that means you made $40. By the way, this applies as well to the professional industries and services industry with different language, but the principle is exactly the same. Sold it for 100, cost me 60, I make $40, correct? My margin is 40%, which is how much I make divided by sales, 40%, yes? I sold 1,000 units, which means 1,000 units times $40 means I made $40,000 on the deal. Correct? Yes. That's how much profit I made on the deal. My revenues were $100 a unit times 1,000 is $100,000. That's your base case. You're all with me on that one. Yes. Now watch. I discount by 10%. Now I sell it for 90, which means I'm only making 30. I'm going to prove to you that you've got to sell 33% more. Watch. 1,333 times $30 is 40,000. And $90 times 1,333 is 120,000. So watch, a salesperson comes back, or you are selling. Guess what, boss? I sold 33% more volume. You can say, so what? You made exactly the same amount of money by working 33% harder. Why would you want to do that? Secondly, hey boss, I just increased my gross sales from 100 to 120,000. What's your problem? Here's the problem, you made the same gross profit. Or if you're busy freaking out because your margin dropped from 40 down to 33, your gross profit was exactly the same. And my message here is, don't examine numbers in isolation. People get all freaked out or they get all excited when they look at numbers because they have this target fixation on sales, or they have a target fixation on volume. This is called cause and effect. Cause and effect. This is notwithstanding how much more you're going to step up your cost just to support the additional volume. That's another calculation. It's downhill from here. If anybody wants to understand the spreadsheet or how to calculate this, you're free to contact me. We don't have time to get into this. I'm happy to share this with you. This is one of the most dangerous practices in any business, is the whole notion of discounting. But I come back to my first topic of sell with integrity. To sell with integrity. Why do you have to discount? Like, would you look for if you're looking for a brain surgeon, heaven forbid, for a family member, would you look for the discount of the week? I mean, seriously? Yeah, you'll pay a premium for trust, right? Yeah. Now, this is interesting. I was polling a group of C-level executives, out of 120 people at the conference, and they all had polling clickers. However, I asked all those people with a financial designation, accounting designation, to please abstain from answering. So we had about 90, just over 90 people responded. Look here, 33% got it right, which means 67% got it wrong. However, even that number, I believe, is ambitious. Why? Because given that 29% answered incorrectly about all these, the chances are that the correct answers were even lower due to guessing. So this is a very best case scenario. According to my stats, when I'm working with corporate training, etc., average about 20% correct. Which means 80% of people are getting this wrong. They've never even thought to even ask the question. Target fixation, focusing on sales, focusing on volume, without understanding the financial implications of these decisions. With the stroke of a pen, you can destroy a company. Isn't that fascinating? And I worked with some of the largest companies in the world, by the way, get the same answers across the board. So be aware of what's going on around you. So number one, revenues are vanity. That's your target fixation. Revenues are vanity. Number two, profits are sanity. So what are your sales? Oh, $1 million. Really? Are you making any profit? No, I don't know. And number three, cash flow is reality. You can have fantastic sales. You can make a fabulous profit and run out of cash. And our York Angel gentlemen sitting in this room, I think, will know this. What happens with you investees and growing businesses. They run out of cash. They run out of cash. Why? Because they don't understand cash flow from operations, don't understand operational behaviors. Because they're focused and they have this fixation on one thing only, sales, sales, sales. And please understand, I'm not suggesting that sales is bad, of course not. Of course you need sales, but you need smart sales, you need strategic sales. You need to understand the financial implications of sales. You need to understand how much your step-up costs go up to support additional sales. Learn to think ahead, in other words, mitigating your risk. Business is not risk-free, of course it's not. I've been on this road so many times. It's not risk-free, but you can mitigate your risk by thinking ahead and being aware of this whole notion of cause and effect. So we've covered the trust equation. Just do as you say you're going to do. Just do as you say you're going to do. You know, this creates an entire culture in your organization, even from within, amongst all your employees. Just do as you say you're going to do. We have a little bit of time, so I'll spend this with you. It's not on the slides, but I had the luxury of a few minutes, so I'm going to share this with you. There's a concept called the theory of constraints. Have any of you ever heard of it? The theory of constraints. This concept arose from a gentleman by the name of, last name is Goldratt, G-O-L-D-R-A-T-T. He wrote a book called The Goal, G-O-A-L. It's a management book written in the form of a love story. And it's a prerequisite reading by all the Ivy League business schools today, including Harvard Business School. You do an MBA, you read the book. The gentleman who wrote this book, he died some years ago, he was a physicist, an Israeli physicist. And he talks about the theory of constraints. Here's the principle of it. He talks about Herbie, who is part of his Boy Scout movement, and Herbie is one of a bunch of kids going on a hike, and they're all tied together with a rope. Now Herbie is a really big kid, and Herbie walks at Herbie's pace. Does it matter how fast the kid is in the back or the kid is in the front? Would it make any difference to the speed of the race? No, because Herbie is the constraint. And until you elevate the constraint, the hike won't go any faster. So we need to understand this principle and this concept in business as well. You may choose to sell 100 widgets, but if you only have support for 90, will your sales be 90 or sales be 100? Yes, because until you elevate the constraint of the support team, you won't get to 100. Now you need to understand the financial implications of the increase in the support team. See? If you know that you're selling fruit juice, and you have bottling capacity for 1,000 liters, but you're able to sell 1,500 liters, what is your sales going to be? 1,000, right? It's not rocket science, but learning to understand and having the discussion of the theory of constraints within your organization, whether you employ only yourselves or you employ people, always go through your supply chain from the beginning to end and ask yourself, where are the constraints? Because you don't care about what you do have, you care about what you don't have. I ran my entire manufacturing company on the theory of constraints. That's how we got them to deliver what we said we were going to do. Get a custom order in, we got into the quality circle. In other words, we had each of the heads of divisions every single morning, looked at what the order desk sent to us. We asked the cutter or the stores, do you have the fabric? Yeah. Are you able to draw the pattern? Yeah. Do you have cutting capacity? Yeah. Sewing capacity? Yeah. Ah, sorry, but I don't have the special folder I need for this particular operation. Oh, we have a constraint. We'll move on to the next order. Go find out if you can get a folder. Failing which, the order does not go out. I don't care what you've got. I care about what you don't have. We ran our entire business on it. I ran my publishing company on theory of constraints. What's the point of selling to a college with another 20 instructors? We don't have enough people inside to support them because we were very service orientated. If our mantra in our organization was high level of quality, because we were competing with McGraw-Hill and Pearson, you can't compete with giants like that on face value, but you can compete with them with service because they don't have the wherewithal to do it. They're too big. So we were very nimble, but we had a very high level of service. And we discovered that our currency was not books. Our currency was free time for the professors. Seriously? Yeah, they didn't care about the curriculum. What they cared about, can we save them time? So we designed their lesson plans, their tests and tutorials and exams, and we had a teacher's assistant online. Guess what? Prof finishes at 4 o'clock, goes home. That's currency. And within that, however, we had constraints. How do you take on more schools if you don't have enough people to support the teacher's assistant? You don't have enough people to write the tests and exams. So there are constraints, and we run the entire organization on constraints. So your organizations, whether you're a single operator or otherwise, whenever you make a commitment, if you want to earn that level of trust as I spoke about, and earn your right to charge premium prices in a competitive market, and by the way, I will guarantee, not in all cases, but you will get a premium price for delivering what you promised every time. Would you agree? Yes. For the most part. You'll also get the customers out there who are customers from hell. No matter what you do, they want the bottom buck. Move away from them. When you can afford it, move away from them. Give them to your competitors. Hey competitor, I've got a great deal for you. Yeah, let them go bankrupt. Why don't you go bankrupt? Oh, boss, I'm busy. I'm working 24/7. I said, yeah, so what? Okay? And beware of target fixation. Even as to yourself, look in the mirror if you don't employ anybody and ask yourself, am I focusing on cause and effect? Am I focusing on all the resources needed to support these sales? If not, go back to the drawing board or have this discussion with anybody else that you employ. So, as a gift to you, I'm happy to send you this trust equation explanation. If you connect with me on LinkedIn, just say, Neville, send me my Ace of Spades gift, and I'll be happy to send it to you. So that's it, ladies and gentlemen, and happy to answer any questions you might have.